General Tabo Soabia finds himself in serious difficulty this evening. He holds the rank of general with 42 honors to his name. At this moment he stands restrained by handcuffs. Sources indicate that General Tabo Soabia attempted to harm the sole individual capable of revealing his activities to the public. General Tabo Soabia previously commanded Respect across 3 provinces. Currently he faces grave accusations related to murder charges. The victim was a critical witness designated as Witness D who enjoyed legal protection. Witness D possessed knowledge that threatened to implicate numerous high-ranking officials. General Tabo Soabia confronts homicide charges for Witness D's death. This matter carries significant weight and will not simply disappear. General Tabo Soabia along with his corrupt practices will remain topics of discussion for some time. The unfolding story reveals a military officer transformed into a murderer, a protective system that completely collapsed, and influential figures who rapidly scattered once Soabia's detention became public knowledge. Investigators discovered digital evidence on computing devices and mobile phones despite attempts at concealment, and uncovered nocturnal gatherings where assassination orders were issued. They additionally interviewed eyewitnesses to the entire incident. Evidence suggests Soabia operated within a larger network. He belonged to a highly structured criminal organization. Law enforcement apprehended the suspect at 2:47 during the early morning hours on a Tuesday in Waterkloof. Officers proceeded to Soabia's residence in Waterkloof. Soabia's dwelling resembles a fortified compound featuring multiple locks and reinforced walls. Authorities also deployed surveillance cameras with extended range capabilities, monitoring up to 3 blocks distance. The police operation required specialized units including the Hawks and military police to apprehend Soabia. Neighborhood residents observed numerous armored vehicles, no fewer than 15 equipped with powerful illumination that blazed like exceptionally brilliant lights. The illumination possessed such intensity it pierced through the darkness. Soabia offered no resistance to law enforcement. The arresting officer reported the suspect was conscious in his office. Documents covered his workspace. Appearances suggested he anticipated the police arrival. The suspect surrendered his firearm without conflict. He requested permission to don his uniform. He additionally asked officers to spare his wife distress. Investigators noted the suspect's unusual composure throughout the encounter. The suspect's tranquil demeanor significantly troubled the investigators. Within the office, authorities located a handwritten inventory. This inventory contained 12 names with 11 marked through using ink. Witness D's name occupied position 7 on the inventory. The individual who provided authorities with this intelligence had remained concealed for 38 months. A judicial directive had been established to ensure this individual's safety. They had been relocated to a different location where their identity remained unknown. Manosa held employment in the Defense Department Procurement Division for military supplies. He had observed questionable activities involving contracts over an extended period. Manosa functioned as an individual but had been documenting all the fraudulent transactions which totaled approximately 2.3 billion rand. He photographed the documentation, created a clandestine duplicate of all the paperwork because his previous internal complaint within the department yielded no results. The individual possessed evidence demonstrating contractors, military personnel, and political figures were all complicit in embezzling funds. This evidence proved devastating for them as it revealed their financial misconduct. When the individual approached prosecutors with this intelligence, they recognized his vulnerability. The prosecutors deemed his testimony sufficiently crucial that they enrolled him in a protective program. This program bears the designation Witness Protection. It assists individuals endangered by their knowledge of criminal activities. The individual's testimony held tremendous importance. That explains why he required protection. Forensic specialists dedicated 11 months to this investigation, examining communication patterns. They determined someone accessed witness protection databases during COSA's movements. This discovery led them to General Sabier's chief of staff holding the rank of major. Tragically, this major subsequently committed suicide. Upon examining the major's computer, they discovered decrypted communications. These communications contained safe house addresses during surveillance operations and when the informant faced maximum vulnerability. One particular message from General Sabier's account stated, "Problem resolved. Asset neutralized." This communication was transmitted 37 minutes following the discovery of Khosa's remains. Investigators believed Khosa's demise was staged to resemble a residential burglary. The forensic specialists continued investigating Khosa's death and the communications from General Sabier's account. The witness protection infrastructure was malfunctioning as intended. This program was established in 2003. During that period, authorities anticipated the primary threat to witnesses would originate from criminal organizations, not from corrupt individuals operating within the system. Numerous individuals, around 200 from various agencies, possessed access to safe house information. The schedules for witness relocation were easily predictable. Additionally, the equipment utilized by the Witness Protection Program was linked to computer networks, which rendered them vulnerable to military intelligence penetration. Following a security breach, authorities investigated what transpired. Discovered numerous deficiencies. They identified 47 significant vulnerabilities in Witness Protection Program administration. For instance, many individuals accessed the schedules. At interagency meetings, they would discuss witness destinations, which constituted a security risk. They also transmitted information through unsecured channels, such as standard email. The Witness Protection Program suffered from numerous problems, including these errors, which endangered the witnesses. Sabier attended a briefing where they discussed when Witness D would provide testimony. They established a timeline for Witness D to deliver their statement. Sabier served as a soldier. He excelled academically and graduated near the top of his class. He served in various African locations to support peacekeeping operations. Authorities awarded him recognition for accomplishing a mission involving supplies and equipment. He attained general rank while relatively young. His colleagues considered him highly intelligent and skilled at political maneuvering. Apparently he employed these abilities for corrupt purposes, like covertly facilitating certain companies obtaining contracts. Some junior officers reported he ensured his associates received the agreements, and if you opposed him, he would damage your career. When certain documents from Khosa emerged, Sabier likely realized he faced exposure and that his corrupt activities would be discovered. The prosecutors assert that the individuals who decided to eliminate the informant deliberated carefully. It was not something they executed spontaneously. The decision to eliminate the informant wasn't one the prosecutors claim, and the individuals who made this decision about the informant did so in a very calculated manner, not because they acted rashly regarding the informant. The courtroom spectacle commenced when they discussed releasing Sabier on bail. The individuals opposing Sabier presented telephone records documenting 43 calls between Sabier and the deceased major. They also demonstrated monetary transfers from foreign nations totaling 850,000 rand, and these were linked to individuals associated with the military. There were additionally recordings of Sabier meeting with security personnel 9 days before the major's murder. One of the individuals affiliated with the military revealed the truth. Stated that Sabier issued directives that sounded benign but actually meant to eliminate a problem permanently. They described this as a resolution to a threat that could generate complications. They also located an audio recording of Sabier's voice on the computer that revealed he was orchestrating where and when to act against the target. The courtroom spectacle centers on Sabier and his conduct. Sabier occupies the central position in all this. It concerns the things that Sabier articulated and performed. Judge Becky declined to release the individual on bail. She considered the individual might endanger the witnesses who have not testified yet. Judge Becky also considered the individual might attempt to obstruct the court from performing its function and discovering the truth, which isn't right. The crisis escalated rapidly. 3 senior government officials had to postpone things they were scheduled to do publicly. The Minister of Defense issued a statement attempting to reassure everyone, declaring that what one individual did was not representative of the entire organization. The individuals opposing the government demanded someone investigate what occurred. Media personalities were discussing whether the government was implicated. Some analysts observed that the Minister of Defense had previously stated that they should not scrutinize what the military purchases closely. Now people consider that was a mistake. People do not place as much trust in the military as they previously did. In fact, fewer people trust the leadership. It declined from 67% to 38%. Regarding the manner the military conducts purchases, only 22% of people trust that procedure. The military institutions and the Minister of Defense are experiencing difficulty because of this. The Minister of Defense and the military institutions are in substantial trouble. The investigation commenced 3 years earlier because of a payment of 450,000 rand from a defense contractor to an offshore entity following a major purchase of 78 million rand. This payment resulted in the discovery of offshore companies, and a lot of them were associated with military officers and contractors, including individuals related to Serbia. For 8 years, Syria was responsible for had influence in 230 decisions about purchases, and most of the time the companies that secured the deals were the ones that provided kickbacks to offshore accounts. What Khoza stated during the investigation was very significant to comprehend what was happening. His murder demonstrated how professional and organized the individuals in this network were and how they exploited the weaknesses in the system. Serbia and the individuals around him, including the officers and contractors, were all components of this network that was extracting money from the offshore kickbacks. The investigation revealed that Serbia authorized deals that benefited the vendors who were providing kickbacks to offshore accounts. The police identified 17 individuals who helped enable criminal activities. They understood what was happening, or they chose not to see it. When they examined the finances, they saw that some police officers were living comfortably, much better than they should have been able to with their salaries. They discovered that some of this money was originating from foreign countries. Some of the senior police officers and the individuals who collaborated with them were granted protection so they could inform the police what actually happened. They informed the police about all the things that were occurring behind the scenes. The police learned that there were 2 systems, one that everyone recognized and another that was clandestine. The individuals responsible for the investigation stated that Serbia utilized the power of the state to facilitate people committing murder, which is a very grave crime. Foreign intelligence proved really crucial. They obtained some signals intelligence from a group that collaborates with NATO. This group was capable of decoding messages that the African agencies could not decipher. The defense attorneys did not believe this evidence should be admitted in court because it violates what the Constitution says. The court ruled it was permissible to use it. This demonstrates that when there is corruption in the defense sector of a country, it can be a concern for the region. It makes things complex because the country needs to be answerable to its people, but it also requires assistance from foreign intelligence like the foreign intelligence. So the foreign intelligence and the country's own people are interconnected in a way, and this is a significant matter for regional security and the foreign intelligence. The defense team argues that what Serbia did was acceptable because it resembled a spy game. They think Serbia was merely attempting to safeguard the country from people who might harm it. The defense says that Khoza could have disclosed secrets to foreign countries if he testified. They believe Serbia was monitoring someone who was a threat to the country, not just killing someone. The individuals opposing Serbia do not concur with this. They say that nothing is significant enough to kill someone who is supposed to testify in court. Judge Becky is examining information to see if it is accurate. The judge is uncertain if he wants to permit Serbia claim that he did it for national security. The defense team also thinks that the individuals who are testifying against Sobia might not be telling the truth. They have some theories about how Khoza died. The evidence indicates that Sobia probably did it. The defense team is questioning the credibility of Sobia's accusers, suggesting that perhaps someone else killed Khoza. The human cost is really enormous. Khoza's widow and her children had to reside in a location for 7 months. They were all isolated and very distressed. Her daughter developed severe anxiety. Her son stopped communicating to people. She felt guilty for surviving. She says her husband was an individual who did very significant work. He endured a lot to reveal people the things that were happening. Now she wants the system to transform so that people who tell the truth about things are kept safe. Khoza's widow wants this to happen so that other individuals like her husband do not have to pay such a price. She wants systemic reforms to protect whistleblowers like her husband. General Soya made a commitment to defend the constitution and follow the rules. The individuals opposing him say he did not keep that commitment. They say he did not do what the people trusted him to do. He made the military a worse place to be. He cared more about obtaining money for himself than doing what was right for the military. Because of the corruption, the military did not have the things it needed. The equipment was not adequate enough. The younger officers learned that if they wanted to advance, they had to do things that were not right, not because they were good at their jobs. The reason General Soya is being prosecuted is to demonstrate that when someone in a position does something wrong, they will be punished. Prosecuting General Soya is also about making sure everyone knows that General Soya and people like General Soya will have to face the consequences of their actions. This case has destroyed confidence in military and governmental institutions, exposed systemic corruption, and highlighted the fragility of witness protection. The coming trials will test whether accountability can extend beyond a single high-ranking officer to the networks and structures that enabled him. Public demand for reform, including oversight, whistleblower protection, and severe penalties for abuse of power, reflects a nation grappling with the deep cost of unchecked corruption.